Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Sayyid al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen. Allahumma alimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na ma tu'allimuna wa zidna bi fadlika ilman wa ta'liman innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. So, if somebody could just share where we are in the red book, inshallah. So it says أخبرنا موسى بن عبيدة. There's Abida and Ubaida. It's kind of hard to tell which one it is without looking it up. And Muhammad ibn Ibrahim ibn al-Harith al-Taymi. And Ibn al-Had. So Ibn al-Had, this has a ya that's dropped. Ibn al-Hadi, right? The ya is just dropped, right? Like al-Kabir al-Muta'al, ay al-Muta'ali, right? So عن ابن الهادي, right? عن العباس بن عبد المطلب قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يظهر هذا الدين حتى يجاوز البحار وحتى يخاض بالخيل في سبيل الله ثم يأتي أقوام يقرؤون القرآن فإذا قرأوه قالوا قد قرأنا القرآن فمن أقرأ منا من أعلم منا, right? So he says this religion will become ظاهر, will become prominent until it crosses the seas, right? It becomes an international thing. Until such that the horses will be used in jihad. You'll see great numbers of horses and being used in jihad and be great battles. And then thumma, and then after that they will become a fat and lazy people, right? So basically after the effort, right, there will be these people who will come after the next generation. أقوام يقرؤون القرآن, who recite the Quran. فإذا قرأوه, when they recite it, they will say, who, he said, we have recited the Quran. Who has recited more than us? Who knows more than us? i.e., they will be stuck up. ثم التفت إلى أصحابه فقال هل ترون في أولئك من خير? Do you know, do you think there's any good in these kind of people? People who are stuck up, lazy, fat, worldling scholars. قالوا لا. قال فأولئك منكم أولئك من هذه الأمة وأولئك هم وقود النار. These people will come from you and these people will be from this nation and they are the kindling of the fire, right? So what is it? Pompous, fat, lazy, stuck up, proud scholars, right? Very important concept. The default is that money, power, looks, intelligence, and religiosity will destroy you. That is the default. If you become wealthy, you become proud. If you become powerful, you become proud. If you become intelligent, you become proud. If you're good looking, you become proud. If you're strong, you'll become proud. If you memorize the Quran, you'll become proud. If you know about halal and haram and can answer tricky fiqh questions, you'll become proud. That is the default. The exception, إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. The exception is those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves. So we have to, that's a very key thing to put in mind. And you will see it. I've seen it in my world. It's by default, that's the case, right? You have to be very, very careful, for example, who you share fiqh with in my world, because a lot of people have hasad, they have envy. Who knows more? Who has more students, right? There was a sheikh that he told me, he said the sheikh came up to me and he said, one day I'll have more students than you. So you can see that his mentality is totally off. One day I'll have more students than you. Like it's a competition, you know. The exception is people who study for the sake of Allah. They are humble, their knowledge breaks their heart, and they are broken inside, and they see other people as better than them, and they see themselves as the khuddam al-alam, the people of the servants of the world, right? That's the exception. The default is not the case. That's not the default, right? And so we have to be very, very careful. So sacred knowledge is a necessary evil. You have to get into it, but getting into it is not safe. It's like playing with liquid uranium. It's not safe, right? So how is to be saved? Al-ilm, amal, wal-hal, right? To apply it and so ilm amal hal, to have knowledge, apply it, and then you change. But they don't apply it, so they don't change. Right? I'll give you an example, okay? And I'll give you an example of an internal struggle, right? An internal struggle that I had to face as a student. I am a student. Okay, there is a hadith, a famous hadith in Bukhari, okay, which says, مثل الذي يذكر ربه والذي لا يذكر ربه مثل الحي والميت. Very famous hadith, you can Google it, it's there in Bukhari. The comparison of he who remembers his Lord and he who does not remember his Lord is like the living and the dead. So one of my teachers, he would repeat this hadith frequently. So Yusuf Muhsin is in that class, and he's like, subhanAllah, like the class really helps him. You know, the Sheikh is trying to get people out of death and into life. And the Sheikh is always trying to remind people, remember Allah. Like, don't forget Allah. And if you forget, make istighfar and keep making dhikr. So Yusuf really benefits from that class. Farid is in the same class, and he has a problem. What's my problem? I know too much. So my problem is the Sheikh is quoting the hadith in Sahih Bukhari. And I know that in Fath al-Bari, Ibn Hajar Asqalani's commentary on Bukhari, he says that hadith is actually a mistake. So Yusuf comes away from the class crying and with a new resolve to listen and to make dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm in the class saying, oh, it's a mistake. The hadith is مثل البيت الذي يذكر الله فيه والبيت الذي لا يذكر الله فيه مثل الحي والميت. The actual hadith, as in Muslim and other places, is the comparison of the house in which Allah is remembered, and the house in which Allah is not remembered is like the living and the dead. That's the actual hadith. So I'm struggling with, why does the Sheikh keep repeating this thing? Why doesn't somebody correct it? Why? I have all these facts in his head, and it's not just facts, they're emotional, right? It's an emotional thing. And then there's pride. I know more than the Sheikh. Right? And you will. Within a short time, you may know more than your teachers on some things, right? You might not have the big understanding, but you might know a fact that your sheikh doesn't know. Right? It's how it happens. So how are you going to deal with that? It's a fitna. It's a problem. Right? You're in Taraweeh, Yusuf hears beautiful Quran recital, you're like, man, the Ikhfa Shafawi wasn't really there. Because you know too much. Right? Qalqala, 50-50, so. So one person is with Allah, the other person who's done sacred knowledge is with the facts and the details. It's a huge fitna. Right? It's a huge fitna. So the only way is to get, one of the Salafi said that. It said it's easy to get into knowledge, to sacred knowledge. It's hard to get out of sacred knowledge and get to Allah through it. Because it's a temptation. It's like being a president. The Muslims have to seek political power in order to positively affect the world. But at the same time, political power will destroy you. Right? SubhanAllah, my own stupidity, may Allah forgive us. I remember once telling my kids off, right? So pathetic, the nafs is so pathetic. And I was like telling my kids off, they were like 4. Okay, I think Mikhail was like 4 or something like that. I was telling him off and I felt like power, like I have power over little kids. Like that's so pathetic, right? But it's reality. Whenever you give somebody power, they will like it. Knowledge, right? They will. So that's how it is, right? Sister Johanna here? Sister Johanna's not here. Anyway, I used to teach in the school, right? So when I remember bringing it with the staff, I said, teachers are show-offs, right? Like a teacher as a show-off. They love the limelight. They like to show off the kids. And if somebody else took the class, it's not an issue of like, it's like that's my turf, you know? That's called nafs. That's called showing off. Like you want to be the person who entertains those kids. You want to impress those kids. You like that, I think. That's called showing off. People can show off to kids. So you're showing off to a kid, somebody who was like a fifth of your age, not even a fifth of your age, like an eighth of your age. And you're showing off to them. It's like showing off to a kitten, right? Like limelight, achievement, knowledge, all of these things. It's a big thing. Big thing, right? So that's why you have this quote here. It says حدثنا عبد الرحمن بن شريح المعافري قال حدثني شرحبيل ابن يزيد عن رجل عن عبد الله بن عمرو قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أكثر منافقي أمتي قراؤها. The majority of the hypocrites of my ummah will be its scholars or Quran reciters. Qurra can mean both, right? Ulama / Quran reciters. So there we go. So this is exactly what happened to Christianity, exactly what happened to every religion. Every organized religion, same cancer. Same cancer, right? The ulama, what's the quote we did there? You are the salt of the earth. Remember that quote that we did? We found it was in the Bible. The salt of the earth. What is it? It's in the Bible. Salt of the earth. What was that quote? Salt of the earth. Here we go. Salt and light. It says, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its flavor, what will it be salted? It is then good for nothing, but to cast out trodden under the feet of men. Right? So scholars, you are the source, but if you don't apply your deen inwardly and outwardly, then what's the point? Right? What's the point? So when you see that the religious establishment is corrupt, right? As happened at the time of Sayyidina Isa, and as happens in many places in the world, right? I remember one of my teachers, he asked this question, he says, like, why is it that there are so many shuyukh and scholars in Azhar that don't have beards? He said, what was it? Qillat deen, just no religion, right? So there's reasons, for example, in Egypt to shorten your beard, political reasons and genuine danger for your life and safety, right? If you had a big beard, you look like a certain group and whatever politics. I understand that. But it's like, why did you shave your beard off? Why? Qillat deen, just not being very religious, right? So now your sheikh and the mufti is like that. What are you going to do, right? It's a huge problem, When the imam is a pedophile, what's going to happen to the community? What's going to happen? Like if he drops the ball, what about everybody else? Right? And so this is a major problem. May Allah protect us, right? So the idea that you're safe without sacred knowledge is wrong, and the idea that you're safe with sacred knowledge is also wrong. The only way to be safe is to have sacred knowledge and to apply it inwardly and outwardly, right? Which is very, very hard, right? Yusuf and I are eating a pizza, and there's one piece of pizza left. There's three things I might do. Offer it to him as a way of showing off, which is haram. Offer it to him for no reason. That's fine. Offer it to him to outwardly show altruism, but I don't actually mean altruism, right? But what is the real way to do it is genuinely, in my heart of hearts, I want Yusuf to eat this last piece of pizza. That is deen. I'm not trying to impress him, and I'm not trying to be fake, right? That's quite a hard thing to do in your relationships, in your world, in your marriage, in the way you live with other people. True altruism is very difficult. It's actually very difficult. Like genuinely, I want you to be happier than me. That's a very high level of iman, right? In my heart of hearts, I hope you get the job and I don't. Even though I'm trying to get the job outwardly, but in my heart of hearts, I want you to have all the good, right? That's very difficult. Does showing off easy recognizable to the doer? No, not necessarily. No. It's not necessary. So it's not easily recognizable to the doer. No, because it is recognizable, Abdullah. right? It is recognizable, but we are so fake. We make ourselves so fake, right? So we put so many layers on ourselves that we become fake in our own eyes. So we don't see ourselves. That's what it is. So it is something. So it's like the emperor's clothes. Everyone knows the story, right? So the emperor wants new clothes, and he always wants new clothes. So then basically they give him these new clothes that are see-through, right? And everybody is so preoccupied with appeasing the emperor that they're all like, wow, it's really, really nice. He's actually wearing no clothes. But everybody sees it as amazing clothes because they're just so obsessed with appeasing him and impressing him. And that's the way that they function. So they all like see it and say it as, and there's just one kid who has no fear of the king or emperor and no hopes. And he's just like, yeah, the emperor doesn't have any clothes on. That's just how it is. So the kid sees it, the cat sees it, but we don't see it, right? Like it's kind of silly. Like there's so many layers that we have. So it isn't easy because we do show off and we do things like that. It's quite normal to show off, right? So religious people will show off in religious things. People of the dunya will show off in dunya things, right? You know, Yusuf and I are talking about should I sell, should I not? My apartment in what's it called? Um, some I don't know in Beverly Hills. Should I sell it? He's like, I don't know what to think about it. The way I'm talking about it is like it's showing off. People do that all the time. Women will talk about this, like, yeah, I might have another baby. Like, subhanAllah, I can't even have a single child, and you're like, yeah, I might have another baby. You're just showing off about your proud, your ability as a mother, right? Women do it all the time. Men do it. They're just in different things, right? In their sports, right? In your knowledge of sports, people do that all the time, right? It's a very normal thing to show off about being polite, right? You know, it's almost a default that people are fake, right? And so it's one thing for people to be like that. It's much worse when it comes to scholars, right? Scholars who are fake, right? It's normal. Many, many scholars are like that. Many big scholars, they're useful for their function in terms of facts, but they're not actually doing the deen. May Allah protect us. Okay, so he says أخبرنا أبو بكر بن أبي مريم عن ضمرة بن حبيب قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الملائكة يرفعون أعمال العبد من عباد الله يستكثرونه ويزكونه حتى يبلغوا به إلى حيث شاء الله من سلطانه. So he says, indeed, the angels, they raise up the deeds of a slave and they are in great awe of them. How do you distinguish between being fake and struggling to do what's right? Yeah. So let's say for example that like I'm eating a piece of pizza with Osama. I actually personally want to eat the whole pizza. And I'd actually personally be very, very happy to for him to like say, "Oh, I'm full," and then I get to eat the rest, right? So fake it till you make it. Fareed, you aren't altruistic. Let's just be real. You're not altruistic. But you fake it till you make it. Don't steal it, and you do physically prefer him to yourself. But there's a difference between faking it so that he's impressed by me and faking it because I'm trying to change myself. Does that make sense? Like I'm in front of my students who are always impressed by me, and my nafs is in this big kind of thing like, oh, Sheikh, you're so amazing. And I'm drinking standing up, and they're looking at me in this funny way. So then I sit down. Why did you sit down? You sat down because you can't bear for your students not to be impressed by you. That's called riyah. That's called showing off, right? Or to be shocked by how you're not following the sunnah, right? As opposed to, I'm standing up. I don't care what they think or they don't think. I should sit down. But by default, people will do that. By default, people will show off. It's normal. It's natural. It's actually just like how you're built. Because people aren't built as punks. Like there's a kid who like, I don't care what anybody says. That's not how it is usually, right? They might have that in some aspects of their life, but it's not normal. The way that people dress is what they want and what other people think. What people say and speak is they're always accounting for what other people think of you. We have to come up with a new system, which is I don't care about what I think, and I don't care about what they think. I care about what Allah thinks. And that's very difficult. It takes a lot of work to do that, right? So as we mentioned, I don't know, it was last week, whatever. How do we start? Start with the outward. Are you praying on time? No. Okay, don't even worry about this now. Just pray on time. Are you outwardly doing the haram? Yes. Stop doing the haram. Are you outwardly doing the obligations? No. Start doing it, right? So when you start opposing yourself, and start abiding by the Sharia, Allah will start, these layers will come off. Because disobedience is in reality a layer, a complex layer of yourself. So you start saying, no, this is sunnah, I'm going to do it. This is makruh, I'm not going to do it. This is fard, I have to do it. This is haram, I'm not going to do it. So that's a one jihad, right? One jihad in nafs. And then what happens is you start to find out more things about yourself. Why is it that I didn't want to do it? Was it lazy? Was it this? Was it that? Right? And then you get deeper and deeper and deeper, and you find more things about yourself. But you can't find the deeper things until you deal with the bigger things. So someone's talking about jihad and nafs and this, and Rumi says this, and Ghazali says this, and like, bro, you're not even praying on time. He says, yeah, I know, I'm not focusing on that right now, right? You can't. So the Sharia, applying the outward, is the door to the inward. You can't find out the complexities of those inward things without that. So somebody's like, no, I'm just trying to, I'm going to wear hijab when my niyyah is in the right place. Sister, wear hijab, even though you're doing it just because your cousin's seeing you, because your mum would be happy, and then work from there, right? Oh, I eat haram food because my intention isn't, if I ate halal food, I would only be doing it to impress so and so, right? That's wrong. Just work on the outward, and your working on the outward will lead you to the inward, right? Making yourself do what Allah wants as opposed to what you want is a way of peeling off these layers. And then you start going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and finding out what's going on there. Why do you make this decision? What are your motives? But you can't really find out what's going on. It's like somebody who is, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. MashaAllah.
Okay. So anyway, what happens is the angels, what is it? يستكثرونه ويزكونه. They say, MashaAllah, there's so many good deeds. They're so beautiful. حتى يبلغوا به إلى حيث شاء الله من سلطانه. Until they take this slave to wherever it is that Allah wants to take the slave. فيوحي الله إليهم إنكم حفظة على عمل عبدي وأنا رقيب على ما في نفسه. He says, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them, saying, you are just trustees of his actions, but I am aware of his soul. إن عبدي هذا لم يخلص لي ولم يخلص عمله. He was not sincere and he did not do the actions purely for me. فجعلوه في سجين. Put him in the prison, hell. ويصعدون بعمل العبد يستقلونه ويحقرونه, and they take up the actions of another slave and they say it's not very much, he didn't do much, right? He didn't do much. يحقرونه, hardly did anything. حتى ينتهوا به إلى حيث شاء الله من سلطانه, until they take the slave into wherever Allah wants them to take him. فيوحي الله إليهم إنكم حفظة على عمل عبدي وأنا رقيب على ما في نفسه. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you may be in charge of his actions, but I'm in charge of what's inside his soul. إن عبدي هذا أخلص عمله فاكتبوه في عليين. This slave of mine was sincere in his actions, so put him in the Illiyin, the highest level of Jannah, right? So quality over quantity, right? Let's take a horrible example. Your husband buys you a rose. Isn't that cute? And then you found out he took a picture of the rose that he was about to give you and sent it to his mistress. Bro. So like every single thing you've been doing for me, you've been sharing with others, right? So that's not romantic. It's meaningless. It's actually very painful and horrible and weird, right? You know, your wife dresses up for you and takes a picture of herself, puts it on Instagram. So like, did you dress up for your husband? Did you dress up for the screen? What's your problem, right? And so this is Hollywood, right? It's all fake. Everything about you is fake. And there's no relationship between husband and wife. It's just fake, right? So-and-so's dating so-and-so because, so-and-so broke up with so-and-so. That it could well be that their what's it called? Their agent told them to do that. Like you're gonna make it from two to 3 million if you break up, you know? Or if you start dating so-and-so, it's gonna be good for this, you know? It's just fake. It's a fake relationships. So this is what we do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We turn up at Taraweeh for the wrong reason. We recite this Quran for the wrong reason. We do this for the wrong reason. We say Alhamdulillah, right, for the wrong reason. We do all sorts of things, right? Our motives are all messed up, right? And we have to go through them and tidy them up. May Allah forgive us. Yeah. So it takes away. So that's by default, you do not share. So when you share everything about when you share everything about your married life, suddenly, and then you get a following, right? Oh, that's so, Dr. Sham is such a romantic guy. Look, he did this with his wife. He's such a good husband, right? His wife says, "Oh, I made these pancakes for my kids this morning. It was so difficult, but I did it anyway." It's like you're showing off now what kind of a mother you are, what kind of a wife you are, what kind of a husband you are. And so it's not sincere anymore. So then what happens, you realize actually, if other people see it, it messes it up. Al-dhuhur yaksir al-dhuhur. Showbiz breaks back. So by default, then, in your amal, everything should be private, right? By default, when people know about what you're doing and don't know what you're doing, it all gets messed up. Um, that's what happened with Uwais al-Qarani, right? Uwais al-Qarani, the Prophet said this is going to be a man, he's going to come from Qaran and make dua for him and ask him to make dua for you and da, 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 da. When he became known, he disappeared. Nobody could find him again. They tried to find him, couldn't find him again. He doesn't want to become known because he knows that if you become known, it will break your ikhlas by default. It doesn't have to, but by default it will, right? By default it will. That's how so basically being nobody unless you have to be somebody, right? I remember once I was in a group, and I made a point of like intentionally showing off how much I know and how much they don't know. Because it's ridiculous. Like you don't know what you're talking about it, but you're all talking as if you know what you're talking about. There's actually one person in this group who knows what they're talking about, and it's me. And I'm going to make a point of that. So that's very different. Like the haram can't happen or stupidity can't happen. As opposed to normal situation among Tullab al-Ilm, students and shuyukh, no, right? Don't do that. Don't show people what you have. In fact, embarrass yourself is quite a good idea. Like ask dumb questions, make it like it seems that you don't know anything, etc. Very important thing to do, right? Recite the most common surahs that everybody would know and not the ones that people wouldn't know, because by default, it's going to break you, right? Look at the young Hafid. That's the default. The young Hafid is going to be proud by default. Now, so he needs to know the danger and be working on himself, right? As opposed to nobody ever told him. That's a khiyana, right? That's a problem. Imam Malik, when he was taken to his first teacher, Rabi'a, he's told, take his adab, take the way he was before his ilm. Like the way you are is very important, right? Sufyan al-Thawri said they used to spend 20 years working on themselves before they would go and study, right? Before doing serious studies, because serious studies by default destroys you, right? Knowledge and power by default makes you proud, unless you work really, really hard, right? I remember one brother came up to me. I was talking to my friend about something, and his friend said, "Oh man, I wish I studied like you guys." And then we both looked at him and said, "You have no idea what it's like." Right? It's like saying, "Oh, I wish I was a president." It's like, well, bro, you have no idea. Right? I wish I was a principal. I wish I had power. Like, well, I wish I was an influencer, right? No, that's not something you want to be. Okay, أخبرنا هشام عن حفصة بنت سيرين. So who's Hafsa bint Sirin? We have Muhammad ibn Sirin, Anas ibn Sirin, and Hafsa bint Sirin. So this is the sister of Muhammad ibn Sirin. You heard of Ibn Sirin, right? The Tabi'i, right? So this is his sister. So there's the three, Anas, Muhammad, and Hafsa. I think there's another sister and another brother. They also narrate hadith, but not very common. But Hafsa, she comes up quite a lot. So this is Hafsa bint Sirin, right? Sirin. عن الربيع ابن زياد قال سمعت كعبا يقول والله ما استقر لعبد ثناء في الأرض حتى يستقر له في أهل السماء, right? So he says, by Allah, a slave doesn't deserve, I think that's kind of a very loose translation, doesn't deserve to be praised on earth until he's praised in heaven. Otherwise, it's not worth anything. أخبرنا الأوزاعي عن المطلب ابن حنطب قال إذا رضي الله عز وجل عن عبد نادى جبريل فتأخذه كالغشة ما شاء الله فإذا أفاق قال لبيك يا رب أو يا ربي يا رب العالمين عفوا فيقول إني قد رضيت عن فلان وصليت عليه فيقول الملائكة صلى الله عليه حتى ينتهي عفوا فيقول الملائكة صلى الله عليه حتى ينتهي ذلك إلى الأرض وأظنه قال فإذا أبغض عبدا فمثل ذلك, right? This is a well-known hadith that says that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with a slave, he calls Jibreel and Jibreel passes out because of it. Why would Jibreel pass out by being called by Allah?
It's Allah.
Is it just
all powerful,
right? Is it like your
like
friend Dave,
Musa.
my mate Dave? You know that phrase in British English, right? Who's that? Oh, my mate Dave, right? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala my mate Dave? No, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So key concept, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a giant teddy bear in the sky. So we love Allah, we thank Allah, we have hope in Allah. We're also dead scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So khashya, right? And khushu', like it's actually very difficult for you to pray almost, right? Because it's actually terrifying. So the true believer is like this. Were a T-Rex to roar in his face, he wouldn't change because he's praying and a T-Rex roars in his face, okay? He wouldn't move because he's more scared of Allah than the T-Rex, right? It's like penetrating fear, right? So it's a key thing that's kind of like lost on people. And if you speak about this, you sound like an extremist, you sound like unbalanced, you sound like very negative or whatever. Like, bro, you're so negative, you're so extreme, you're just like, because people don't like to hear scary stuff, right? And if they hear scary stuff, it sounds negative. Don't talk about death, that's weird. Don't talk about negative things, talk about positive things, right? But that's a key concept. وَإِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. When Allah is mentioned, their hearts shake. What if Allah spoke to them? Right? So he passes out for as long as Allah wills. فَإِذَا أَفَاقَ. When he comes to again, قَالَ لَبَّيْكَ يَا رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Whatever you want, I will continually be at your service, O Lord of the worlds. فَيَقُولُ إِنِّي قَدْ رَضِيتُ عَنْ فُلَانٍ. He says, I'm happy with so-and-so, and I have blessed him. So the angels say, may Allah bless him until that continues all the way down to the earth. I.e., basically, there's a system of rida. Sayyidina Jibreel is happy with you, be happy with him, and then it goes down all the way to all the people of the sky, of the angels. All the angels are happy with you. And then he says, and I think he said the opposite was true. When Allah wanted to hate somebody, he says the same thing. Right? This hadith is in Abu Dawud and other places. On Sahih Muslim as well. There we go. Exactly. Yeah. So what's the phrase? You know, put the fear of God in him. What's the phrase? Put the phrase? Put the fear of God in him. It's a no. There's another word for it. And there's a phrase in American English say put the. So fear of God is a concept. It's a very important concept, and it's kind of lost. Yeah, it sounds right. The fear of God in him. Yeah. Okay, أخبرنا محمد بن سليم وهو أبو هلال الراسبي عن عقبة الراسبي عن أبي الجوزاء قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا أخبركم بأهل الجنة وأهل النار. So the Prophet ﷺ said, shall I not tell you of the people, who are the people of paradise and who are the people of hell? أهل الجنة من ملئت مسامعه من الثناء الحسن وهو يسمع وأهل النار من ملئت مسامعه من الثناء السيء وهو يسمع. So he says, the people of paradise are those whose ears are full of good praise, and he can hear it. And the people of hell are those people whose ears have been full of bad praise, and he can hear it. Meaning, so let's go back to this previous hadith, 1 second, right? So does that mean that if you're a good person, everybody will like you? Because it says basically, if Allah likes you, Sayyidina Jibreel will like you, and Sayyidina Jibreel will like you, and then all the angels like you, and then everybody likes you. So does it mean that everybody will like you if you're a good person?
I don't think so.
Like, didn't people like hate the Prophet ﷺ, even though he was right? What it means is righteous people will like you. That's what it means. Righteous people will like you. So righteous people don't like you. Yeah, but I'm cool. They're just messed up. Habibi, you have a problem. Like, you need to listen. Like, the righteous people say, bro, you got serious problems. Nasiha, liwajhillah, for the sake of Allah, I'm just telling you, bro, you have serious problems. Your 8th marriage also failed. Yeah, but she was messed up too. It's like, no, you're messed up. You have a problem. And I'll ask the righteous people, right? So it doesn't mean, so same thing here, right? So I tell you who's a person of paradise. Go and ask good people. Go and ask righteous people. What do they say about you? Right? And go and ask the people of hell. So Ahlun Nar, the people of hell, his ears are full of bad praise, meaning people are saying, Habibi, you were doing the wrong thing. You're going the wrong direction. And he can hear it, he's listening, but he doesn't want to change. Right? As opposed to the whole corrupt world hates me. Right? Let them hate me. That's something else. But it's very important, to listen to people. There's not everybody understands everything, but you get a picture. You realize what's wrong in my life. Go and talk to people. Say, be frank with me. Is there something wrong? Am I harsh? Am I rude? Am I this? Am I that? Right. Khair. And righteous people as well, they'll have an idea about you as well. They'll have one sheikh, he said if they speak, we know them in a second. If they remain silent, we know them in a day. So you sit with righteous people, they have firasa, they have intuition. They're like, you're doing good, kid, but you need to work on this, because they'll know. They know what's up with you. So, being with righteous people and having people, give you some advice and say, Sheikh, I genuinely want a piece of advice. What is wrong with me? They're like, well, what kind of things are you dealing with? This. Okay. And people can help. And your friends can help too. Your brothers, your sisters, I mean, some, people who are straight in their deen, they can give you some advice and listen. I'm sorry, you're actually very arrogant. You're very arrogant. You're actually very selfish. You don't think you're selfish. You're actually very selfish. You don't have to listen to every single person, right? But people of Salah, yeah, they'll tell you things. أخبرنا الفضيل بن مرزوق أخبرني عدي بن ثابت عن أبي حازم عن أبي هريرة قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى أمر المؤمنين بما أمر به المرسلين. They said, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded the believers to do what he has commanded the prophets to do. فقال يا أيها الرسل كلوا من الطيبات واعملوا صالحا. And he said, O messengers, eat of the halal and good and do righteous deeds, i.e. make sure your income is halal, make sure your food is halal, right? وقال يا أيها الذين آمنوا كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم, consume of the good things that we provided for you. قال وذكر الرجل يطيل السفر أشعث أغبر. And then he mentioned a man, a story of a man traveling for a long time. He's lost. يطيل السفر. His journey has become unintentionally longer than it should. أشعث. His hair's all over the place. أغبر. He's covered in dust. يمد يديه يده إلى السماء. He's calling upon Allah. Ya Rabbi, Ya Rabbi, or Ya Rabbu, Ya Rabbu, could be either. O Lord, or O my Lord, O my Lord. But مطعمه haram, but his food is haram. وملبسه haram, and his clothes are haram. فأنا يستجاب لذلك. How on earth is he going to be answered? So the point is, have a halal income and eat halal food, and your dua will be answered. If you do not have your halal income, your halal food is not halal, your dua will not be answered. Right? And you're going to be in this very difficult situation. فَأَنَّا يُسْتَجَابُ لِذَلِكَ. How on earth is it going to be answered? وعن سفيان عن جعفر بن برقان عن صالح بن مسمار قال الله تعالى تدعونني وقلوبكم معرض فباطل ما ترهبون. Right? He says, you call upon me, quoting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not in the Quran, just in general. Kind of if Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way of expressing the situation, you call upon me, you make dua to me, but your hearts are turning away. So your fear is meaningless and your seeking is meaningless, right? So we have to make dua with what? Hearts that are open, mean what we say, right? And if you can't do it, at least say it, try it, right? Fake it till you make it. أخبرنا صالح المري قال حدثنا يزيد الرقاشي عن أنس بن مالك قال يأتي على الناس زمان يدعو المؤمن للجماعة فلا يستجاب له يقول الله ادعوا لنفسك ولما يحزبك جافية ولما يحزبك من خاصة أمرك فأجيبك وأما الجماعة فلا. قال صالح وأخبرني عتبة جزاك خير عتبة بن أبي سليمان عن الزقاش عن أنس قال إنهم أغضبوني. So he says there will come a time where a person will make dua for a whole group and he'll be answered, make dua for yourself. Ud'u li nafsik is an interesting thing. The wow should be dropped. It should be ud'u without a wow. Allahu alam. Why the wow is there? It can exist. It is a lugha. It does exist. You can do that. But it's not very common. You wouldn't normally imagine to see that in a hadith like this. Ud'u li nafsik. Make dua for yourself. Walima yahzibuka, I think it is. The dhamma. Okay. فَلَا يُسْتُجَابُ لَهُ. Sorry. And so make dua for your own self, and I will answer, because I will not, as for أَمَّا الْجَمَاعَةُ فَلَا, as for the group, I will not answer it. And then I mentioned another version. Why? Because they have sinned. Right? وَإِنَّهُمْ أَغْضَبُونِ, they have enraged me. Right? So I'm not going to answer the dua. وأخبرنا معمر عن محمد بن حمزة. So this is to do with it seems like a new topic, honestly, to do with sincerity, to do with dua. I don't know. So أخبرنا معمر عن محمد بن حمزة عن ابن عبد الله ابن سلام قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خصلتان لا تكونان في منافق حسن سمت وفقه في الدين. So again, I'm not sure how this fits under this whole topic, but it says there are two things that you won't find in a hypocrite. حسن samt, the way that they carry themselves in a nice way. Good deportment, good character. وفقه في الدين, and understanding the deen properly. Understanding halal and haram properly, understanding how you balance things. Right? So a munafiq will have a bad understanding of how fiqh works and unbalanced, and it does not have good character. Right? So good thing to ask the people around you, do I have good character? And they're like, no. Okay, specifically, what do you mean? What do I do that isn't nice? Right? It's a very important thing to do. عن ابن جريج قراءة قال قال سليمان موسى إذا صمت فليصم سمعك وبصرك ولسانك عن الكذب ودع عنك أذى الخادم وليكن عليك سكينة ووقار ولا تجعل يوم صومك ويوم فطرك سواء. So this is again totally different but relevant to Ramadan. From Sulaiman and Musa that he said, when you fast, then make sure your ears are fasting and your eyes are fasting and your tongue is fasting away from kadhib. So you're fasting and you're on TikTok the whole day. You're not fasting, right? Unless it's all Umar Sulaiman or something, right? You're on YouTube the whole day. You're looking at the haram, talking about the haram, making ghibah. That's not fasting, right? Fasting is dabt al-hawas. I'm closing myself down from other than Allah, other than wasting time, pointless things. I'm focusing Allah as much as I can. Right? Yeah, I might be at work. Yes, I might be at school. I might be doing lots of things, but I'm doing a fast on what I look at, what I see, what I say, etc. وَدَعْ عَنْكَ أَذَى الْخَادِمِ, and be very careful of harming your slave/servant. Right? وَلْيَكُنْ عَلَيْكَ سَكِينَةٌ, you should have a tranquility about yourselves, the way that you carry yourself. Right? It should be noticeable. Right? You're in a state. وَلَا تَجْعَلْ يَوْمَ صَوْمِكَ وَيَوْمَ فِطْرِكَ سَوَاء, and he says, and your fasting, the day that you're fasting and not fasting should not be the same. So you're joking in the same way, talking in the same way. It shouldn't be like that. Right? So you are in a zone, right? And make sure you honor that zone. Right? I think it's also narrated from Jabir. Right? I've seen that hadith somewhere else from Jabir. Wallahu a'lam. So I don't know how this is related, what chapter this is under really, honestly. It just seems to be various different useful quotes. أخبرنا جرير. So this is a general thing, observation you'll find, is the earlier the book is, the less organized it will be. Right? So organization, what you find is people later on, they get more content and put it in different places. Here it just doesn't seem to be super organized at all. So it's أخبرنا جرير بن حازم قال سمعت حميد بن هلال قال حدثني مطرف قال أتيت عمران بن حسين يوما فقلت إني لا أدع إتيانك لما أراك فيه قال فلا تفعل فوالله إن أحبه إلي أحبه إلى الله تعالى. قال جرير وكان سقى بطنه فمكث على سرير منقوب 30 سنة. So he was really, really sick for a long time. Right? And so this is Imran Hussein really, really in a bad situation. So one of his students said, Sheikh, I don't visit you too much because I see you in such a difficult situation, like you're in so much pain. I don't want to disturb you. And he says, don't do that. Don't not come to me just because you see that I'm sick. Because whatever, فَإِنَّ أَحَبَّهُ إِلَيَّ أَحَبُّهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. Because the most beloved thing to me about life and my such circumstance is that which Allah loves the most. So if Allah is happy with me being sick, I'm very happy like that. I don't have a problem. Right. Says وأخبرنا جعفر بن حيان قال اشتكى عمران بن حسين شكوى فقال بعض من يأتيه قد كان يمنعنا من إتيانك ما نرى عندك قال فلا تفعل فإن أحبه إلي أحبوه ضمة إلى الله تعالى. Same thing, same idea. So some people said, we don't want to come visit you because you seem you're so sick. He said, no, don't do that. The most beloved of the whole situation, to me, is that which is beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? This is love, right? To love what Allah loves. So again, I don't know why this is under this section. Wallahu a'lam. أخبرنا سفيان عن أبي حيان عن أبيه قال قدمت الشام فقلت هل من الجند أحد مريض نعوده. So he said, I came to the Levant and I wanted to visit a soldier who was sick. فقالوا لا إلا سوي دبن or دبني. You could say سوي دبن or سوي دبنة مثعبة الحنظري فدخلت عليه فلولا أني سمعت امرأته تقول أهلي فداك ما أطعمك ما أسقيك ما ظننت أن دون الثوب شيئا. Oh, subhanallah. So I visited Suwaid, and had I not heard his wife talking to him, saying, may my family be your ransom. What can I feed you? What can I give you to drink? I wouldn't have thought that there was anything inside the clothes. Like he was in such a bad state. It looked like there was nobody even there. Inni qad khiftu. Right? I was really, really scared. فكشف الثوب عن وجهه. And so he took the garment off his head. فقال يا هذا, so and so. لعلك يسوءك الذي ترى بي. He says, perhaps you see my state and it's very difficult for you. فقلت نعم. أو قلت أي. Right? والذي لا إله غيره. Right? I said yes, or yes. E means yes. So when you say E wallahi, right? Aywa. E wallahi, right? Yes, I swear by the one besides whom there was no other God. قال فلا يسوءك ذلك. It should be فلا يسؤك ذلك. There shouldn't be a wow there. فلا يسؤك ذلك. That shouldn't sadden you. The way looking at somebody in a really, really bad medical situation should not sadden you. Why? فلقد فما لي ضجع منذ كذا وكذا فلقد دبرت حرقفتي أو قال الحراقف مني فما لي ضجع منذ كذا وكذا إلا على حر وجهي. So basically he said that like my life is, I'm really, really, really sick. That's what he's trying to say. Like I can't actually lie down properly, and it's very, very, very hard for me to sleep and to rest. والذي نفس سويد بيده ما يسرني أنه نقصت منه قلامة ظفر. So he said, but at the same time, I'm extremely difficult and I can't rest and it's very, very hard. I swear by he in whose hands is the soul of Suwaid, I would not want any of this to go away. I wouldn't want to have any of it to go away. So when somebody is sick, may Allah protect us, you make dua for health. You take the means for health, but you don't want health. These are two different things. This is a very important thing, right? Salb al-irada. I want what Allah wants. Marriage. I really want to marry this person. You take the means, you make dua in general. Don't make dua for that person. Make me dua, so Allah help me get married. You take the means to worship Allah by marrying. You take the means to going ahead, but you totally turn your heart away from that person and marriage. I don't care if I get married or not. I don't care if I marry that person or not. Very important. The job, whatever it is. The key. Oh Allah, please start the car. No. You make or say, oh Allah, please start the car. You turn it in a way that would normally result in the car starting, taking the normal means, but your heart is detached. Whether the car starts or not, it doesn't matter. No, I can't find the file on my computer. Can't start my computer for some random reason. Right? These are all opportunities to take your heart away from the dunya and give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? This is what we're seeing with this person. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is day in, day in, day out, purifying and purifying, purifying. So his heart is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And Malik ibn Anas narrates عن محمد بن عبد الله بن عبد الرحمن ابن أبي صعصعة أنه سمع سعيد بن يسار أبا الحباب يقول سمعت أبا هريرة يقول قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من يريد الله به خيرا يصب منه. Right, Sahih Hadith. Whoever Allah wants good for, He afflicts. So affliction is not a bad thing. Is it a good thing if you respond properly? Fiqh fi deen is good if you apply it. Right? Okay. So very important concept there. Okay, inshallah, we'll come back to here, inshallah ta'ala. Save. Inshallah, sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. How do you avoid what is dhulm, oppression? How do you avoid dhulm? Find out what your obligations are and find and do them outwardly. But the main thing is your tongue. Oh, so you didn't get the yogurt then. That's hurtful. I forgot to buy the yogurt. And you said, oh, so you didn't get the yogurt then. Don't speak like that. If you realize I didn't buy the thing that I was supposed to buy, just don't say it. Just drop it. So we hurt ourselves. In Arabic, kalm means speaking, and kalm also means injuring. It's the same word. Kalim is the one who is spoken to, and kalim is one who is injured. So that's the key thing. Is what you're saying nice and productive? No, don't say it. So that's a huge, huge thing, right? It's not useful. It's not true. Don't say it. It's hurtful. Don't say it. It's not useful. Don't say it. So we have a shahwa. Our lust to speak is more than our lust to eat. Right? People want to talk. People want to say stuff. Stop talking. Right? Inni nadartu lirrahmani sawman walan ukallima al-yawma insiya. Sayyidina Maryam, she makes a vow to fast from speaking. I'm not going to speak to a single person. Sayyidina Zakaria doesn't speak. Very important. Don't say anything. Right? Inshallah. So fasting is easy for food in compared to it with the tongue. Right? وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.